Today, I would like to begin our art lesson with a short story about the life of Buddha. One day, Buddha was meditating under a tree. One of his disciples was with him. He needed his advice. Buddha finished meditating and turned to his disciple and asked what he wanted. His disciple said, "I am angry today. My brother refuses to help me with my elderly mother, and the responsibility is now solely on me. I mean to have a word with him, but I'm not sure what I should say. I came seeking your advice." The Buddha did not respond immediately. Instead, he asked his disciple to fetch a bowl of water from the nearby pond for him. The disciple was a bit confused, but the Buddha had requested something of him, so he immediately grabbed the bowl and went to the nearby pond. Upon arriving, he noticed that animals had crossed the pond and the water had become muddy. So he returned to the Buddha, letting him know the water was not in a drinkable state. The Buddha said, "Let's meditate." After a while, he turned to his disciple and said, "Can you fetch me some water now?" The disciple returned to the pond, and the water was clear. He returned to the Buddha with water. The Buddha drank the water and turned to his disciple and said, "Your mind is like this pond. When it's full of anger, the mind becomes useless, like the muddy water. When you give the mind time and you let the anger calm, the mind will tell you exactly what you need to know." The disciple agreed. Because he had spent so much time with the Buddha meditating and fetching water, his mind had calmed, his anger had subsided, and he realized he had not talked to his brother about the care of his mother. And he's sure that if he went to his brother and spoke with him, he would agree. So he went to his brother and he settled his issues with a calm mind. I begin with this story because the sixth grader stands right at the threshold where righteousness, anger, and frustration begin to color their moral world. They're learning to meet challenges not only through reaction, but through reflection. And after we walk them through the vast and often violent world of Rome, its conquest, its legions, its laws, I offer them stories like this one. This is why I added the manifestations of the divine block, to continue the year not with force, but with clarity, not with empire, but with consciousness. And the Buddha's teachings remind us that true strength begins inwardly. Art can carry the same gesture. For this project, you will need a pencil sharpener, a pencil, a black color pencil, and an eraser. You will also need a watercolor palette, but you won't need many colors, just one or two for your lotus flower. We will begin with a soft oval for the head. Be sure to keep your pencil lines light. This will help with making adjustments and corrections along the way. Then you want to begin to create Buddha's crown. As Buddha's crown is full of Bantu knots, you want to be sure that your lines are not perfectly straight, but rather come together in small arcs. Be sure to create those small arcs along the forehead line as well. No need for perfection at this point. Just sketch light lines. We will go over them as we near the end. Then take your eraser and you can begin to erase the lines that you began with at the top of the head. Then you can lightly go over your sketch lines so that you can see a clear vision of Buddha's crown. Again, don't be afraid to erase light lines and go over them again to achieve the artistic look you're looking for. Now we'll begin shaping the eyelids. Don't forget to keep your strokes soft. The eyelids connect to the nose. Here you can see that my nose falls a little short, so I'll grab the eraser and lengthen it just a bit. Now you can begin to shape the eyes. In this image, Buddha's eyes are closed, so no need to create an open eye. It helps to step back and take a look to make sure both eyes are even. Now you can begin the nostrils. Small arcs on the side of the nose. And a small septum ring completes the nose. Now we can place the mouth. Slightly heart-shaped, curved just enough to suggest peaceful contentment. Not a smile, but a quiet knowing. Then we place a spiral in the center of the forehead. Get rid of any unwanted lines. Now we move to the ears. They're elongated in the traditional style, reflecting Siddhartha's royal origins and the burdens he once carried. You'll draw them as gentle arcs on each side of the head. Again, if you find one is longer than the other, with light pencil lines, you can erase and make adjustments. You should begin to see the image emerging. At this point, you can begin to go over your lines to see even clearer the image of Buddha. To complete the ears, you want to follow the outer line to make the inner ear and then the lower ear that will close in an oval. Finally, to the Unishna, which is the crown-like form at the top of the head. It's a symbol of spiritual awakening. It's important to remind the children that it's not just decoration, but kind of like the moment of insight made visible in Buddhism. It's important to keep your circles close to the same size, but not perfect. Now, we are going to put small spirals inside of each circle, similar to the one at the center of Buddha's forehead. This patience and attention to detail is great for the 6th grader, as they are skills that they will need for geometric drawing. Now we take our black color pencil and begin to darken the outline of Buddha's crown. At this time, you can give more detail to the curves within the Unishna. Here we will begin to color the background of the Unishna in black. I begin by going around each circle in black. Once you've completed that, you can begin to color in the space between each Bantu knot in black. At this point, you want to grab your pencil and begin to darken your lines and make any necessary adjustments. Here you see the space between the eyelid and the eye was just a little too small, so I took it up just a bit. As you take the time to darken your pencil lines, you can truly see the image of Buddha. A bit of shading below the chin gives it a more realistic look. I like to draw a light pencil line and then do a bit of smudging with my finger. If your student has smudging pencils, it's a good idea to have those out as well, as some of my students don't like to use their finger. Darkening the outline of the eye, leaving a little space between, gives the appearance of a closed eye. You want to darken those lines a little more than you've darkened all the rest of the lines. And again, use your finger to then smudge that dark line just a bit and give some shading to the eye. Then you can use your finger to smudge some of the black from your color pencil, as well as some more of your color lines, in order to bring some more shading to the face. I then like to give a little bit of shading to the top lip. And use my finger to smudge those lines as well. And just slightly darken the line below and give that a bit of smudge as well. I also do some light shading of the neck. It's fun to play with this type of lighting and contrasting with the 6th grader. Here's where we begin the lotus flower. Forgive me for not having the image completely in the camera. I'll move it in just a moment. When drawing the lotus flower, it's nice to have a picture of a lotus flower on the board. The children feel more empowered to create their own version of a lotus flower. Or maybe that's just my class. Now that we can see the entire flower, be sure to add a few lines, give a little bit of character to your petals, and some shading. When you're happy with your flower, you can begin to darken your lines. Earlier in the video, I created a few lines to give the appearance of a shawl on Buddha's shoulder. I didn't realize that it was not in the frame, but you can see it now. 3 simple lines create a beautiful shawl that I will shade in just a moment. While it's perfectly okay to keep the image just as we see here, I thought it would be beautiful to add a little color. So we decided to pull out the watercolor. In class, I allowed for the students to choose their own color. It made for a really beautiful display when it was all complete. I started with just some light strokes of purple, and then went back over them with some deeper color here and there to create some depth. And there we have it, the completed image. Thank you for creating with me today. May this image of calm clarity stay with you and with your students as you continue throughout the school year. I'll see you in the next lesson. This is not possible. It has to be. A watercolor palette.
Okay.
With a